Lot of stuff happened. As of now, like after last move, he's winning again, but now he's the move, and he might not be winning again.
Wait 1 second, the clock time, that's
much more important what happens on we have on the board.
And he has gone.
Yeah. And he has moved his rook
Go to the H.
Well, he's lifting his rook. Maybe it needs to
He's going to go to
beat it back all the way down
D4.
to D.
As well.
Yeah, you can
Still.
go F3, slide with your king to...
push the king over, and then we can bring our rook to G8. And indeed, in that case, my rook
Okay,
would,
rook A8 played.
and
Kind of way to trap the rook. So
Sorry.
after check, yeah, king E7.
sometimes I know it's a decisive advantage. Whoa!
We can just throw...
Away.
Okay, king F8.
Quickly,
King F8,
king
okay.
F8. You know, if we just take the rooks off the board and
Okay, he doesn't go rook A8. The
try
king
to,
can always run away to D6.
I suspect
To Bucharest, where we have Christian with a very happy Fabiano.
for 30 seconds consistently, but we're beginning to double guess the whole plan of putting the pawn on rook in.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's say bishop goes back to C5.
Absolutely.
And the rook is...
But
We're going
now,
checkmate.
It feels like you are not that close to the checkmating part, and so I could potentially consider rook d3. That's what I'm saying.
Rook d3 or rook d2?
d3 maybe,
Okay.
and rook a4, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
rook
That's what
C4, in
rook
fact.
c4. Yeah.
Shall we have a look-see?
Okay, well, Anish...
Rook, pairs?
Yep.
That makes sense to me.
And
Rook to d7, rook to
rook
b7.
B on the clock. And Anish doesn't want to make anything
Okay.
committal. So he steps his king towards the center, and there you see Praggnanandhaa quickly mobilizing the king. I think it's a good idea to put the king on E2.
I do too. Whenever I see a line that I could potentially lose, I go, uh-oh.
Loud.
That would be a good... and
Okay,
he's
king
played
F1.
King F file keeps black's rook
Honest, yeah.
tethered to the A file. You can't move the rook and allow rook A4. So,
Okay, rook
A5.
A5.
So once again, we're anticipating king E2, king D3. Anytime this bishop moves rook to C7 is checkmate. So that bishop cannot move. So we don't have to worry about the bishop coming to F2 on any occasion, so long as our rook can jump to the C file. So king E2, good move by Prague.
And now, for Anish, it is just to hold the pattern, right?
Yeah,
You just
but-
hold the 8th rank.
But like Daniel Diak, it's just such a tough, to do nothing, just to hold.
Right.
Rook A8.
Absolutely tough decision there for Anish, because they will come
Way to B5, and I might answer that question with a
10, 9.
really going under rook
Throwing
D8.
in a check.
Okay, so we're anticipating king C2.
Quick move there from Prague.
By the way,
And now
really
rook
keeping the pressure.
A4, now a big threat.
Huge threat.
He
Rook
moves the
A4.
king.
Oh, wow. Yes.
You take b6, bishop f2, and then all of a sudden f2 has
Kind
to
of
be played.
required.
Yeah, okay, 10 seconds for Anish.
And Anish hesitated. He's
reaching for the rook. Okay, and he,
Wow.
At
Made
the last
that with,
minute, last seconds,
how much seconds did he make that?
2
2
seconds.
seconds.
That's what I
seconds
thought.
Changed his mind.
He was going to
and
go
went
rook
bishop
F8.
F2.
But I love this move, bishop F2. It's crying to be played. It's his only chance of counterplay. Take the pawn and use your H-pawn.
Yeah, and also there's one more factor. You take h4 and then your king might be liberated one day,
more
and then you run
checkmates.
into f4. Okay, that's kind of a fairy tale scenario. But
Right. Okay, Prague had his king on E2. I think he needed to maintain that stance a little bit, because now I don't know, doubts are beginning to creep in. Can Anish save this position? That would be Houdini-like.
It would be, but on the other hand, What's the winning move for white? Is it to go rook c7? Or would that be a mistake?
Oh, it's to take, I guess. And again, I mean, it's very strange.
Rook
It's
takes
like
a3.
Take on a3. Yes, let's use your
Yes,
board. Yeah, it's to
take
take
on
on
h4.
h4, and then computer recommends
Not
rook
to-
d3 over other stuff not
So
to
that the
take.
king can get
It's
in your
Over to
action.
the queen's. Yeah.
kind of counterintuitive. I don't know why this move and not something else.
rook
We
c7
do.
played.
Rook c7.
And I'm sure he played the move rook c3 to play this move rook
Yep.
c7. Rook f8 forced.
Then you go rook f8. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing to think about here, Anish.
Anish. Yeah.
Okay, rook
Rook
f8 played.
h8, rook f8,
And king d3.
King d3.
Now Prague is realizing that his king, a moment ago his king was on h3,
Okay.
and he's bringing his king back to h3. King comes to e2, bishop to g3, king to f1, h4, king to g2. That's on Prague's agenda, and Prague is hoping that he'll be able to pick up the b6 pawn and at his leisure pick up the a3 pawn. And if he gets that with his king on h3, he's winning. I think. Miro, back me up on that. You get your king to h3.
I don't understand anything, honestly, even with the help of an engine, because the variation jumps, and there are like some really crazy subtleties. Say after king e2, bishop g3 or bishop g5.
Right.
Say bishop g. Where do we want to go? G5.
Bishop
Bishop
g5.
g5.
The bishop is
G5.
anchored.
King f1. Right.
King f1.
Why?
I don't understand where the king's going. White goes to
10
h3.
seconds,
seconds.
8 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, bishop
G3
g3.
just as good or just as bad as the bishop g5. They were with the same
And
variation.
king f1.
Right.
King f1. Now, in Prague's mind, and I understand his concept, he's thinking, I'll put my king on g2.
Yeah, 7 seconds. 4.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. And he
3,
doesn't look like he's
2.
reaching for... Oh!
Played with 1
Good.
second
One
on
second.
the clock.
And-
H4.
And that pawn is somewhere between h4 and h3. He
King
did it with
G2
one
quickly
second.
played
That was
by
dramatic.
Praggnanandhaa.
Very, very
That was
dramatic. Okay, so we're going backwards now. I think if I'm in Anish's shoes, I'm playing bishop f4, and I'm playing bishop to e, and through the magic of
Whilst Pragg is
replay.
thinking, we can see that
television
moment
of
where
1
Anish
second.
made that move with 1 second left on the clock.
A little bit of a wobble there on the
Oh.
release of the pawn. Wow. That was
This is
nerves.
nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
And
One
well, this
second.
game is
Bang.
keeping us on the edge of our seats. Will Anish have a fortress?
Bishop
Will Pragg
E3.
be able-
You put the king on b5. The black bishop will be on c5. The black king will be on g8. And then I'll go rook to d2 to g2 check. Ooh.
But as soon as you go rook d2,
Yeah.
the black rook is out.
But I'll get and my king will be on b5, and I'll have a
Well,
rook.
you know, he's
Rook.
going for rook d7, sorry.
He went rook
Maybe.
d7. Okay. He didn't take the pawn on h4. That's a surprise decision.
Well, 17 seconds. Maybe this is why he's doing it, just to make Anish think. 8 seconds. 7 seconds.
You got to put your bishop back on c5 and just do your best to hold. But here I was thinking king takes h4, and you can see what my intention is to put my rook on g2. Magically, what did you call it? Teletransport?
Teleport.
Teleport. Teleport my rook to g2 check at a certain moment when you won't be able to defend against the invasion of my rooks.
Yeah.
By the way, as we've been counting down the seconds, and I know Prague has been playing quickly, how's his clock?
Well, Prague is around
Handling
about
his-
4 minutes and 21 seconds.
He had 8, I think, when he
But-
started this.
But the thing is, in this position, the onus is on Prague to find the winning
Clear.
plan. It's very clear that Anish is just going to be
Make a
shuffling the
fortress.
pieces
Yep.
and reacting to whatever.
So we can imagine bishop
Okay,
check.
Anish
By the way,
keeping us on the edge of our seats
3
because 3
seconds?
seconds. Wow.
Yeah, why
Rook
don't
H8 check.
why don't you play bishop f2 check and bishop c5
Okay, Rook
and gain a minute?
F8.
Okay, he's back on schedule now.
And is back to the minute mark.
Yes.
I have a winning plan, if I may.
Please.
So get the king to b7 and go rook c7, just trade the rooks. Can this be right?
Yeah, that would be
makes-
good.
That makes a good. So put the rook on c7, put the king.
It's a
on
very long
b7.
plan. And
But you
Who
have
knows?
all the time in the world.
Exactly.
Although there is the issue that if you run away with your king far enough,
Well, I do like very, very much
king.
the suggestion of putting the king all the way up the
Okay.
board.
He's going in that direction. So my question was,
Yes.
is it possible for black to run with their king at the right time? So say the white king is out there on a6.
Right. And hoping to get your own counterplay.
Right.
The problem is I see it, once you lose f7, you don't go
Yeah.
to g, you don't leave g5. But you're right, you've got to do something.
Yeah.
You've got to do something. You can't just allow Miro's plan of the king running to b7 for free.
Well,
Still something to say about this fortress here. I'm just curious with the king when if he had put his king on g4 and forced the bishop to go to c5, we might get the plan of moving to the king side.
well, Anish
F4 on the
has
board.
only 10 seconds to
And
make a
bishop to
move, and
D4.
he moves his bishop to d4
Calmly.
very calmly. And now the white king starts marching.
Okay, the king walk up the board, either to b5 or b3, and then we're thinking to play rook g2 check, and or to try to force the trade of rooks on the 8th rank with our king on b7. And again, we're seeing, wow, Anish is going down underneath
There's
5
really
seconds.
nothing that he can do other than moving the bishop.
Exactly.
King now will creep up to d3, soon on to c4.
Now, what you were saying, Jovi, is once the king really leaves the vicinity of the f3 pawn, you start to think, okay, I've got my only chance with the king on a6, let's say,
Yeah.
to go to f4. That's it. I'm going to play my last trump. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Which makes me think that I ought to have a setup where I force you to play king to g8. I'll put a rook on a7, so
to
your
make
bishop...
sure it's a Zugzwang.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. To make sure
Yeah,
that
it
it's
might
a
be
Zugzwang.
impossible for black to even have this.
That's
Because-
what I'm thinking.
But can't the bishop just shuffle between c5 and d4?
Yes, but then
Then
you're not
A3.
playing a3 is the point that the pawn on a3 would hang if your bishop
Yeah.
leaves c5.
We'll see.
Well,
So
Prague,
Prague.
5 minutes for Prague. Plenty of time. It is.
Maybe he's
Anish.
considering that possibility,
trouble.
by the way. I still like your very direct method of king to c4 to b5 and to threaten to trade rooks on c8. I mean, I think I'm just winning that rook takes f7 variation. So once again, what we're looking at is king coming to c4, and to b5, and then we'll put our rook on, so let's say c7, and go king to c6 to b7. And he's done it, king c4.
Rook c8 check.
Rook
Oh,
c8 check.
hang on a second. Is
Yeah.
that right? Because you go king b3.
That's what I'm thinking. Why did he lose his a pawn?
Wait a second. King
King
b3,
b3.
he's going to go
He's going to
check.
go rook c3.
He's going to go check c3. And after king, whatever it goes before, he's going to go king g5, king
Okay.
F4.
king h6, king g5, go all in pretty much, yeah.
Right. So maybe I should just play rook to c7 after
Yeah,
all.
rook b to c7 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and you have to go back to f8 in this case. This is quite the ending, Jovi. I mean, by no means trivial, and Prague is having to break down.
And a lot of nuance as well, you know, because Anish is trying to find all the resources he can, and under a minute on the clock, he's taking some time. Is he pondering whether he can grab the rook?
Maybe grabbing the rook with the idea of playing king
King
to
h6, g5,
G5
and
is-
breaking out. Because if you just passively hold defense with rook f8,
Yeah. That's the well.
okay,
he's-
he
he's-
goes for
7 seconds. He played his move with 7 seconds on his clock. Okay, so once again we've been looking at the plan of king b5.
This is the king d5 as well. You're spoiled
Yeah.
for choice how you're going to get to.
Somehow, attacking the pawn on b6 and forcing the bishop to nurse the pawn.
Because I'm thinking if the king steps at d5,
Yes,
there is no check.
correct.
And then, okay, he goes to b5. And then the plan was to go rook a7, ensuring that there's no bishop waiting move.
Right, right, and then you have to play king to g8 in those cases. I think reaching for his king is
King g8.
king g8. Okay, king g8. So we're closing in on your plan, Miro, of playing rook king to a6 to b7 and rook c8.
Still has loads. 2 minutes and 33 seconds. And do remember that Prague is of the generation where he's playing online chess all the time.
So yeah,
He's used to playing moves with just seconds left on the clock.
for me, I mean, the space-time continuum spins out of control whenever I'm under 5 minutes. I swear the clock is ticking 3 times faster than the usual time.
I am
Those
with
seconds
you.
just whisk.
Do you know what happens to
Away.
me? Yes, Miro. I spend a lot of energy looking at the clock
As well.
rather than looking at the board.
Rook
Okay, rook a7. This
A7.
forces the bishop to return to c5.
And again, we're kind of closing in on that
Rook
zone.
b7.
So still
B7.
looking at the possibility of
What's that about?
King, maybe
G7
just the art of confusion, right?
Triangulation with the rook.
dominations. Yes.
Okay, king
yeah.
c6.
King to c6.
Is now the time? King h6? No.
But it's not running anywhere, right?
Well,
King h6, just right. King h6 takes on f7, and what's
Where-
even the next move is?
well, I was trying to
Takes.
munch.
But wait a second.
You can go king to d5.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you go king to d5 and I go here with the idea of
King to e6. Now, well, actually, in this particular case, f4 wins on the spot
ooh, good
instead
point.
of king e6.
Good
Yeah.
point.
So
No,
King to d5.
we're going to call that the March of the Lemmings.
And the bishop returns to e3.
Okay. So we have been talking about an idea based on rook to c7 and king to b7.
Also wondering whether
to
rook
c8.
Where engine's variation is through the roof, but it's all similar in all three lines, and it doesn't demonstrate any clear path.
Despite having informed us of our great impending victory, it doesn't tell us how.
So again, the big question is, but what stops him from playing any of the rooks to c7? Let me put it this way.
I had no idea.
So rook c7, do you see
And
a
now-
move even?
Pragg is the one with slightly less time on the clock
How
than Anish.
interesting.
Now ticking down to 1 minute and 30 seconds.
By the way-
And he does put his rook on c7.
With the intention of king to d7, and furthermore with the intention of king4.
I suspect as well, bishop d4. I was wondering, rook a7.
Rook a7, bishop c5, yeah? Rook a7. I don't want to see a clip a pawn for free. I would play bishop to c5. Now here the question is, once again, we've been looking at these active moves after king d7, king h6. Okay, you are telling me Pragg is now for the first time in the game behind on the
Yes, just 1 minute and 27 seconds. King d7.
clock? That was the
That's
most
the moment
direct.
you move the rook, no? Can you move black rook somewhere?
Yeah, I was looking at this one. Rook to h8, rook to c8.
Then go to h2.
King e8
You
with
can,
the idea of rook takes.
can you put, no, Robert, there's a checkmating net that's on the 8th rank. You have rook c8, rook g8, and if the rook moves, you've got rook h8.
So here,
Oh, Anish went king
Here.
h6, which
here,
Yeah, so say the rook
Seems like a-
takes the pawn on a,
2,
you go rook h8.
and that's our well-trodden checkmate. Nice, good spot.
Could you go the other direction with the king? And
To
try,
G6?
it's just hope that the bishop will hold off. Okay, and rook
By
c8
the way,
being played.
he played rook c8. This might be the winning move. King to g5. Don't take the pawn on f7. Don't allow b5. That would let Anish escape.
right. So
Oh, you know, we don't have to take f6, f7.
all we have to do is to go
not-
d7, c6, d5.
Yeah, not to lose the e4 pawn. That's the ticket. King to d7, king to
c6.
f4, king to c6, king takes, and we can munch these pawns at our leisure. That I like. That's the most convincing mirror. That
Well,
makes
can we
sense.
show what happens if you grab the pawn on f7? Because I'm sure a lot of us would just
Want to do
want
that.
to do that, right?
But then you have to suddenly, whoa, b5, b3,
And
and
king
he's done it.
d7.
Pragg, despite his time shortage. I told you guys, he's accurate. He's an accurate.
That's
Look
why
at your
he's my
statistic.
He's my pick for the event.
Look at your statistics, everybody. King to
King
d7.
to d7.
So,
Yeah,
King to
also-
d7.
I wasn't the only one that chose Pragg.
Oh, really? You had company?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
I was an influencer, and I actually VAR chose him too. And there
Really?
we see Anish reaching for the king. And
Key moment?
Key moment.
No, yes.
King c6.
Wow, what accurate play by Pragg. He's
Yeah.
done it.
King
King to
d5.
d5. He navigated some very tricky.
And the move, so the move king c6, it's a man of a culture, right? Because
Not to
king
go on
d6
dark squares.
achieves the same, but not to go on dark squares with the opponent having the dark square bishop.
Exactly. Cultured gentleman. King to d5.
Okay.
Nice. Now, unfortunately for Anisha's fans, this rook, once it takes f6, the f pawn is just right up the board. There's
Shall we
just-
show what happens if the king just dashes back to
If it-
g4, rook takes f7, and now the king goes to g5? Well, unfortunately, that doesn't solve anything
Because
as Yas is demonstrating, the rook just comes to g6.
By the
and
way, I mean,
that's
this
it.
is why we call the rook a major piece and why we call the bishop a minor piece. In these endings, the major pieces dominate the minor pieces, and we're seeing just exactly why the rook is so much more powerful than the bishop in this ending. King d5 on the board, we're expecting, well, what can Anish do? Trying to make a beeline to the a pawn is unfortunately just far too slow.
Yeah,
You're there, bishop b2.
Bishop b2, yes, but there's
Anybody?
f6.
And that's what I'm saying. The
And-
f pawn is so fast. Not even close on this one, and that will be all she wrote. So that king to d5 and Anish recognizing that he's now at the end of the game. By the way, is this our remaining game?
This is our last remaining game. There's been
Gotcha.
3 draws, a victory for Fabi,
That's right.
and now Prague about to secure his first victory.
And with this win, once again,
And there we see it. What a game from Praggnanandhaa.
he will join Gukesh in a tie for second. You were telling us about this big tie for third place from third to eighth. Now suddenly we're seeing a little separation.
We are seeing some separation.
Exactly, as the
And,
two players
there-
discuss this ending. Impressive victory. Impressive victory.
absolutely. Despite, say, some
Wobble,
yeah,
but
here and there, but overall, he's taken a chance of Anish's only major